Labor promised not to raise taxes on working people. So now they're targeting those who've already stopped working. With a £50 billion budget hole, Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves are eyeing inheritance tax, pensions, and even farmland. Plans could slash tax-free gifts, raid untouched pensions, and hit farmers with new levies, sparking tractor protests and fears over food security. Wealthy non-doms have lost their special status, and critics warn nothing is safe. Not your home, your business, or your legacy. Is this fairness or a cash grab? Under Labor, the taxman's shadow might follow you long after you're gone.
Did you know over 95% of our viewers aren't subscribed? Subscribing is free and helps us create more great content. Hit subscribe now and join our community.
Important, and those that are affected will only pay inheritance tax at half the rate that other people pay, and they can pay it over a number of years. I do understand the concerns, but you've been asking me about the NHS. We needed to put that money into the NHS for farming communities. They need and want a good NHS in their area. They want good schools in their area, understandably. And we had to make choices. The choice I made was that we needed to prioritise the NHS, we needed to prioritise our schools, and they are not easy choices, but they're the choices that we made, and they're amongst the reasons that today I can announce that waiting lists are coming down. That's a relief to every community, including farmers.
Right, my friend. Let's plunge right into our unfolding tale, shall we? Picture this. You're sitting back on your sofa, maybe with a cuppa in hand, and I'm pulling you right into the thick of Westminster's latest drama. Imagine your favorite pub storyteller, but with a slightly cheeky grin, whispering, "You won't believe this," before spilling the tea. Buckle up. We're diving into a world of political gymnastics, budget black holes, and, yes, a bit of tractor trouble in the countryside. This isn't your boring spreadsheet-heavy talk of budgets and taxes. No, today's show is about Labour's new obsession, inheritance tax. They've got a £50 billion hole in the budget. Yep, billion with a B. And their promise not to hike income tax, VAT, or NI is boxing them into a corner. So, where to look for extra cash? Well, if they can't squeeze the people working right now, why not go after the ones who've already clocked out? Yes, those who've built something and want to pass it on. Currently, inheritance tax, often called death duty, is 40% on estates above £325,000. But there's a loophole. Give away your wealth more than 7 years before you die, and it's tax-free. Leave it later, and the sliding scale applies. That means only around 4% of estates pay it. Not enough for Rachel Reeves, who's eyeing lifetime caps on tax-free gifts and scrapping the taper. Translation? More estates paying more tax. Politically, it's clever. They're targeting wealthier people who often don't vote Labour. But is it fair play or just a stealthy money grab? Labour's spin is that these are unearned gains, booming house prices, generous pensions, rising asset values. But the mood is shifting. Farmers, for example, are furious about similar treatment. From April 2026, agricultural and business assets above £1 million will lose full relief, meaning 20% tax on the excess. Cue the tractor protests. Hundreds rolled into Westminster, blocking streets with banners reading, "No farmers, no food, no future." Even Jeremy Clarkson jumped in, calling it a hammer blow to the back of the head of British agriculture. MPs have now called for a delay until 2027, citing zero consultation and no clear impact study. Farmers argue they're asset-rich but cash-poor. The land is their retirement plan, and these taxes could force them to sell up, breaking family legacies and threatening food security. Still, a new study says most farms might survive by using other assets to pay, but dozens could still face real trouble. The bigger question? If Labour's already targeting farmers and inheritance, who's next in line for a fair contribution? Meanwhile, pensions, yes, your hard-earned retirement savings, are also in Labour's sights. From April 2027, any untouched pension funds you leave behind could be counted as part of your estate for inheritance tax purposes. That means roughly 49,000 people each year could face an extra £34,000 bill. Imagine working for decades, carefully putting money aside, only for the taxman to swoop in at the end like a greedy seagull snatching your chips at the seaside. Not exactly the retirement dream you were promised, is it? And guess what? They're just getting started. Then we have the non-dom saga. Remember those wealthy individuals who lived in Britain but didn't pay tax on overseas income? Labour's scrapped that special status, claiming it's a move for fairness. Some feared billionaires would flee en masse, private jets lined up at Heathrow. In reality, HMRC says the exodus isn't as dramatic as predicted. Still, it sends a loud message. If you've got money, Labour's watching you. They say they're avoiding a full-blown wealth tax to stop people leaving, but these moves feel pretty close to one. And here's where it gets juicy for you, dear viewer, because this isn't just about farmers or city billionaires. It's about the principle. If they can change the rules on inheritance, gifts, pensions, and land, they can change the rules for anything. Maybe you've got a little holiday cottage in Cornwall, or a small business you've built over years. Under the current mood, nothing's untouchable. That's why so many people are starting to ask, is this about fairness? Or is it just another way of saying, we're broke, hand it over? So here we are, with Labour dancing on a political tightrope. On one side, they're desperate to plug a £50 billion gap without breaking their promise to working people. On the other, they're poking Groots who might not be natural Labour voters, but who still hold power and influence. Farmers blocking streets, pensioners counting their savings twice, families quietly moving money to avoid the taxman. It's becoming a messy, unpredictable game. And trust me, in Westminster, messy usually means more fireworks to come. And here's the kicker. No matter how they dress it up, the message is loud and clear. If you've worked hard, saved smart, and hoped to pass something on, Labour will find a way to take a slice. It might not be today, and it might not be through your payslip, but sooner or later, they'll come knocking. And when they do, it won't be with a polite please. It'll be more like, we'll have that, thank you very much.